Hello and welcome back to the Simplifiers podcast, where we take topics in business and in life and simplify them. And friends, okay, so this is not normal times. Let's just put that out for the record. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and I dare say we're recording this on March 31st, 2020. We've been in it for a few weeks now, and we might be, depending on where you live in the world, beyond the physiological needs level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You know, we're beyond the figuring out, are we safe? Do we have shelter? Do we have food? Do we have water? Do we have medicine? And we're into the next stage of building community, belonging, and really finding a greater significance to our new normal in life. And when I thought about that topic in particular to simplify, there was only one person in the entire world that I knew I wanted to talk to about it, and that is Neil Greenwood. He is the spiritual scientist at Morning Gloryville. Now, you might know about Morning Gloryville. We're going to talk a lot about them. They're a community of wellness experts that love to create immersive, playful experiences that take people on enlightening journeys. Now, they started off way back when in 2013 as sober morning dance parties, and now they've evolved into a multi-sensory wellness experience. They do it through music, dancing, arts and crafts, super healthy nourishment stations, yoga classes, mindfulness instruction, and specially curated performances to help people express their true life purpose and feel more connected. Now, Neil is fascinated by universal wisdom, as am I, and the life adventure surrounds us all. Morning Gloryville has been seen on The Today Show, CNN, BBC News, MTV, and written about in over 2,600 articles worldwide. So I'd like to welcome to the Simplifiers podcast, Neil Greenwood. Hey, Neil.
Hey, Mary. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm thrilled to be, and that is just a beautiful introduction for both Morning Gloryville and myself. So thank you very much.
Well, my big love to you. I wish I could be doing this interview with you in person. I've gone to quite a few Morning Gloryville events over the years, and even volunteered at the one at the beginning of this year as well. Now, before we dive into this conversation, I think it would be really great if we could just pause and have you lead us through a very quick, maybe 5 or 7 minute grounding meditation. Would you be willing to do that to help us tap into our calm?
I would love to offer that. In fact, before every Morning Gloryville experience, which we normally get about 1,000 people attend, I hold an opening ceremony for either the 50 or so people that are helping to run it, or even 100. So it's a very nice thing to really tune into each other, to be really focused on what the best ultimate experience we can create together. So I'd love to.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Okay, then, everyone. So I invite you all just to kind of relax. Noticing that with meditation, there is no right or wrong. The most important thing is to be comfortable within whatever you're doing. You might hear voices come into you, but just calm and relax. So close your eyes, and together we're just going to go for a little bit of breath work just to sink in. So I'd like you to do a big breath in through your nose and a big sigh out through your mouth. Big breath in through your nose. Sigh out through your mouth. And one more. Notice yourself slowly starting to calm down. And slowly start to focus on this breath. We're going to breathe in through your nose and hold, and breathe out through your nose and hold. Just follow my instruction. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. Breathe out. Hold your breath. Breathe in. Hold your breath. And breathe out. And allow your breath just to go back to its normal rhythm. Notice it's a little bit slower, a little bit deeper. And really focus on this movement. Breath in through your nose. Sense it energize and activate the chi, the fullness of your body, the fullness of your presence. So now calmly and comfortably, just breathe and be. I'd like to take you on a little visualization journey. So where you can visualize what I'm describing, do, but allow your own creative imagination to be sparked full. Now I feel the whole nature and lifescape that surrounds us to be an interconnected web of energy. I know it as the eternal tree of life. I invite us to imagine ourselves as a tree right now. Imagine our bodies as the big trunk, our feet on the floor as the roots. And allow your roots to really ground into this moment. Let them explore the ground around you, deepening into our Earth's core, around all the oceans and mountains and lakes and rivers, all the adventures that we have journeyed on. Follow your root system to the very core of Earth, to the heart center, through the magma. There's a deep red ruby crystal. Allow your roots to reach out to her, wrap them around her. Mother, connection, unconditional love. Become one with this love. With your breath, draw on the forces of nature. Draw them back through the core, through the ocean, through the lakes, through the mountains, through the winds and the clouds. Draw them into your body. Feel the sense of your toes as your root systems come together. We are one, united in nature. Let the energy flow up through your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, into that root chakra at the base of your spine. Feel the warming, loving energy, the kundalini activate and awaken. Draw it up through your lower belly, the sacral chakra. Draw it up into your stomach, across your lower back. Just sense the energy activating, tingling all over. Your hands tingle. Breathe through your wrists, your arms, your elbows, up into your shoulders, across your chests and your upper back. Feel the energy awaken into your throats, up your face, into your third eye, and into the crown of your head. The great branches that fly with the birds, all connected with the stars and the moon and the sun. Feel a warm golden glow at the top of your head. Feel yourself present, calm, serene, powerful, with purpose, ready for the greatest life adventure, love in its fullness, community connection, opportunity, your heart's desires, all available to you here and now. Draw down through the crown of your head, across your mind's eye, your face, into your heart, and sit for 30 seconds with the beat of your heart, breathing in the intention of pure love. And anything that you need right now, just call upon the ancestral spirits, call upon nature, call upon family, call upon the world, just to hear your silent prayer. 30 seconds, alone, silent, but connected. Now, an important moment of gratitude. Be grateful for your body, for your mind, for life. Be grateful for whatever has come through to you and all that we will discuss now. I offer love, guidance, all that is available, whatever you need. And coming back into the present, wiggle your toes and your fingers, move your body and your arms. And slowly, when you're ready, open your eyes. And let's see what shall be discussed.
Neil, thank you so much for that. It's beautiful. And I know that when I do meditation like that, I can feel my spine lengthening as we go through the chakras, as we go all the way up to the top of my head. I can feel my posture changing. I can feel my heart space opening up, and there's expansiveness. What does it feel like to you when you go through visualizations?
Well, I'm a very visual person, and I didn't used to be, actually. I actually worked in corporate recruitment for 12 years, so I was very focused on making money and kind of like partying and doing that. But then I realized, then I got into meditation, and I followed Wim Hof's like Breathwork's training, and like I went to India and studied with meditation masters out there. And so when I choose to go into a full breathwork state, I did obviously the basics for you just then. Like my whole body just becomes linked. Like I can talk to trauma in my feet, and I can actually get like really ecstatic from it.
Yeah.
So I can actually tune into a chakra point, and I can talk to my chakra, and my chakra will explain to me what emotional trauma is trapped in my body, what guidance that I require in regards to the lifescape that I'm thinking into. So yeah, it's just think of moments of levity, of joy, of pleasure, and like these are things that you can activate in your body just through meditation. And this is why I study it.
Yeah. And, I also imagine that when you are so interconnected with yourself, and you can have that deeper knowing and that deeper connection with your intuition, you too become a better leader for so many out there in the world, not only through the people that work with you through Morning Gloryville, but every single person that comes in contact with you. Now, you're not perfect, right? You're not always Buddha on a high mountain, totally chill and calm. Like you're still human, but I imagine this helps you become a better leader and traversing what the last couple of months have been for all of us.
Yeah, and I mean, like when you and I actually spoke about this podcast, I was actually in a bit of a low position, and you picked up on it very intuitively. And I was just like, I've just spent 2 years developing all these kind of events that are based on, you have hugging angels on the door. Like we have connection exercises, playful entertainment for you. Everything is geared to being present physically with someone.
Right.
How do we light you up? How do we give you food and drink that is best tailored to be actual medicine for the body, And then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, cool. Well, now you're just going to be locked in your bedroom, and you can't see the people that you've been developing these projects with. Obviously, you're not allowed to have 1,000 people turn up to one venue.
Yeah.
So my take on it is that there are some very harsh circumstances that are happening right now, and for all people that are in pain and suffering and have lost loved ones or are going through that situation, like I feel that pain, and I'm really sorry for you.
Yeah.
And I've gone through a lot of pain. Like let's say like 5 years ago, I woke up. And we talk about this mass awakening, this like tuning into consciousness at a higher level. And I actually started experiencing this pain way like years ago, like you could, on a global scale right now, all people are feeling it, like we've been like, we're like suffering is just everywhere. But like myself and so many people have been feeling this pain for ages. We've been walking around streets, and we've been looking at homeless people, and we've recognized, this is a kindred spirit. This is a human being, and they're actually having a life experience, and it's actually our duty to take care of people.
Yeah.
So whereas everyone else has been drinking their coffee and running to work and I've got to do the things, we've actually been like really feeling pain because it's like, well, why isn't anyone else caring about these particular subjects? And of course people are, but like not to the extent that they're going to have to start addressing that now.
Right. Because I mean, we've had our blinders on for so many years.
Exactly.
And I'll be the first to admit guilt there as well, of like, just when you're go and you're super productive and you're doing all the things and especially if you have lived in London and done the London lifestyle of, okay, we don't make eye contact when we're on the tube. Everybody else we don't talk to. We're just going to focus on our thing, make a ton of cash and, buy lots of toys, and that's life, right? Because that's how we measure success. And I think, quite a few of us over the years have gone, hang on, no. And now all of a sudden, this pandemic has shut down a lot of our creature comforts, the things that we're used to, whether in your routine is a soy latte every morning before you catch the train, or getting to see friends in person, or going to live music shows, or even going to Morning Gloryville. So could you describe what a Morning Gloryville experience was a couple of months ago before COVID-19 happened? Talk us through it. Visualize what that is like.
Okay, cool. So we go to different venues, and these are typically nightclubs. They're like community hubs, and they have like different rooms in them. So one of our favorite places is a Steelyard in London. So it's a very large nightclub. It's there's a dance floor where like 400 or 500 people can dance, but there's also special rooms where you can go off and you can do yoga classes, fitness classes. There's a different room just around the corner which is separated. We call it our wellness lounge, where we have like mindfulness instructors. We do like a playful entertainment. We have like how to grow your own fruit and veg sort of like stations. And so there's like the entertainment. It's like a mini festival. There's food and drink, plant-based sort of like smoothies and really healthy foods. And then there's entertainment. So we have like world-class DJs, Fatboy Slim, Rudimental, Basement Jaxx, they've DJ'd there. But also we've got like really loving ones that like have chosen a sober path. So it's like really connected. Like we understand that being sober, taking away these addictions that kind of like bring us like long-term physical pain. Let's remove those. And then you've got loads of these goddesses and sacred warriors, and they're all dressed up in carnival outfits, and they're walking around, and we're hugging, and we're kind of like we're honoring people and really seeing them. So this is the community connection value. Like we have angel huggers on our door. So when you turn up, you're going to get a couple of hugs. Obviously, if you're not wanting a hug, we just do a namaste bow. It's very sort of like at your level.
Yeah.
But we probably get about 30% of new people that come every single experience. Out of 1,000 people, that's quite a lot. And a lot of people that come by themselves, because as they wake up, their friends might still be boozing. They might not be ready just to get dressed up in crazy outfits, and they come by themselves. And so we acknowledge that they might be a bit shy. They may not be ready just to get on the dance floor. So the element of creating the enlightened entertainment is we meet you at every level. Like if you're just like, oh, cool, there's some music, I'm going to do a yoga class. There's your yoga class. Come in, you can do it round. But it's infectious. The energy that's in there just kind of like invites you, like, come and dance with us. So it is a crazy rave. Like 400 people dancing and just getting high on hugging and loving one another.
And great
beautiful.
Music, yeah.
And great music, playful, yeah, exactly.
Well, and I remember the first Morning Gloryville that I went to. I want to say it was in September of 2014 or so. And it was the very first time that Basement Jaxx had played at Morning Gloryville. And it was a big surprise DJ. We didn't know who it was. And then all of a sudden you're like, yes, this is amazing. And you know what? The big part of Morning Gloryville when it first started, and why you probably heard about it in the news many, many, many years ago, was it was the very first of its kind of doing these sober morning raves. So, people in London would go dressed in all these amazing, beautiful, bright colored outfits, unicorns, all of the things, right? And go and rave, on a Wednesday morning, say from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then get changed into their corporate 9-to-5 clothes and head off to their hustle and bustle job. Now, I know that Morning Gloryville has evolved since then. It's not just a rave. It's so much more than that. It's deeper into understanding wellness and self-care, and now permaculture and all of that. So Here we are, present day, with, social distancing and quarantine. Some cities are in absolute lockdown around the world. What is your vision now with how to rebuild this community and rebuild this experience for Morning Gloryville, and where you guys are going to take it next? How are you pivoting?
So obviously we've gone online. We have a lot of members in our community that Iona McDancer, she calls herself now. Iona McNeil. She set up the first ever sort of like Friday I'm stuck in, I just want a party event, and they got like about 600 people dancing on screen. So we invited them to. She was already an existing member of ours anyway, so we invited her to co-host with us our first ever live on Earth Hour event this Sunday, and we had 1,000 people turn up.
Yeah,
and that was the maximum capacity. So we've just gone online. We've got the dance party, so the music elements there, but there's also the bit that really kind of sets us out apart from that is we've gone really interactive with it. We still have the wellness rooms there, where we had like a professional drummer, and he got everyone in your house to run around the house and go and get the colors of the rainbow. So like it'd be like get red, get orange, and like you're just like sitting there and you're really sort of like, oh my God, I'm putting an orange thing on the screen. Someone else has put an orange screen of thing. It's that connection. It's like we're playing together.
And you can see the mosaic of it all. So you go to the group view. And so this is all through Zoom, right? And I'm sure quite a few of you that have listened to this episode now have probably experienced some kind of living room dance parties or things like this. But I thought it was really beautiful because then you could see it and you feel connected to the entire community. And there's a sense of play in there as well. It's not just you consuming, it's you being interactive.
Totally. And we watched like lots of our other people creating events. There's like a DJ there, and it's just like an hour of them playing music. And it's like, well, you know what? I could have just done that myself. But where Iona picked the Macarena as one of her songs. Yeah. And and when I love the Macarena anyway, but like when I was doing it, I was just like, oh my God, there are 500 people or whoever it was. We're doing this together, So it's like we get really silly and playful, and it is something that people are kind of like, oh, you're a bit crazy and colorful. But it's like when you get to that state, you realize like, oh my God, we're free. Like what is this barrier that said I couldn't be like silly right now? Yeah. And we are well known. We've been going for 7 years to create events for all, like every diversity, gender, and age. We've got children there. So you've got like children dressed up as unicorns. You've got like elderly people dressed up as unicorns. And it's just like, oh, cool. Well, if you're doing it, like, I can do it. And that's it. Like you just turn up and it's just like high energy straight away. And it's like, okay, cool. Everything. Let's not worry about anything. Let's just dance.
Yeah. And, I participated in the one on March 29th as well. And, it's interesting for me. I love to dance. I also love to paint. And I was feeling a little low energy that day and was like, well, I don't know if I necessarily feel full 2 hours of dancing. And I think that's what I appreciate about the experiences you guys create is that, it's like, okay, well, I'm stuck in my living room. I got all of my art supplies. I'm just going to position the camera so I can paint while everybody else is dancing. And that is okay, right? Like there's not a performative aspect to it where you have to do it a certain way. And I think that is truly all inclusive.
And I think one thing that people should know is that like we again separate ourselves is because we're not performing for you.
Right.
Like we used to kind of like get dressed up as unicorn and be like, look, we're loud and proud. We're going to dance. Like, so that will encourage you to dance. But that's not really how it works. Like, this is why I employ these people called activators, and they're actually healers in their own right. But they literally turn up to an event and they feel out people and the experience, and they'll go up to you and they'll be like, hi, I'm Neil. I'm from Morning Gloryville. Is this your first time? Or like, how are you feeling today? Like, what's your name? And, you said it earlier on today, like, there's no more of this being on a tube staring at your phone and a newspaper. Like, I'm going to ignore everyone else. Like we go out of our way to be like, look, we see you. We want you to know we acknowledge you. And at whatever level you're at, if you would like to go and sit in our meditation corner and be quiet by yourself, we've got one for you.
Yeah.
If you want to get on the main stage and dance with us, come on, I'll show you the way, you know.
Yeah.
And we are masters of this. Like, we have dancers, performers, musicians, comedians, but all of them are not there just kind of like just to make you laugh. Like, they want connection. They want you to really sort of like wake, you know, like we will show you that enlightenment journey. And there's just different levels that we can bring to the party for that.
And I also feel like Morning Gloryville is an evolution to, the Burning Man culture. So I've been to Burning Man quite a few times, been part of my local Burning Man when I was in Austin, Texas. And, it certainly is more about being a participant instead of a spectator, and leaving no trace and all those things. But I also think what's beautiful about Morning Gloryville is it is truly the evolution of the what's next. It's not just the party. It's not just the music, though those are elements of it. I do love the fact that kids can be involved, and people who have evolved into parents and are like, you know what, I'm not really into the drinking and the other stuff. I really want a different experience for myself and for my family. Another evolution it seems that Morning Gloryville is headed towards is permaculture. Tell me more there.
Yeah, well, I will just say I love that you just mentioned Burning Man, because that's exactly what I'm starting it on. I've been 4 years. I've run a camp there for 3. Yeah. And, when I first went to Burning Man, that was really my beginning awakening. It's like 80,000 people on a desert, no money, just real sort of like, I have this, I'm going to create that, I'm going to share that. And those 10 principles of Morning Glory, like self-inclusion, radical inclusion, sort of like leaving no trace, like we have those principles in every single aspect of us. So, but yeah, I mean, this is, we're all locked up right now. The system that we've been following, or the many different systems that we've been following, education, like get a house, get a mortgage, sort of like live with this partner, like set yourself in marriage, and then like 50% divorce rate and all that. Like the systems that we've been just been breaking and cracking everywhere. And so we've been evaluating this. Like, as I said, doctors and scientists, we work with them all the time, and we were like, well, how are we going to make a change? And a lot of us, as this spiritual science word I've chosen to use, is really we've gone within ourselves to really sort of like listen to our hearts, and we've connected with these visions. We've connected with the sort of like the understanding of like tribal cultures of the past, and like we've evaluated them. So like, well, what was working, what wasn't working, and it is unfeasible that we live in a world where 70% in England, 70% of the food is imported from abroad, and it's processed. It's like it's not healthy. So like we have an immediate disconnect with where energy comes from. It's like we put food into our bodies that actually makes us like seek more sugar, and sort of like it changes it messes up our head so that we're not calm. Yeah. So it's just like, well, this is wrong. So what are we going to do about our food source? Okay, well, we live on an island and we are surrounded by nature. Like we are surrounded by all of this land, and a lot of that time it's like you're not encouraged to farm to a degree. So we found a permaculture farm in Wales called Three Paws. And it's 140 acres. They live off the land sustainably. They've got a community down there. And that's why we started in our actual raves to be like, let's teach you how to grow your own food. Let's what we put into our bodies is like as pure and organic as it can be, will give us the energy. It's about energy maximization. So we partnered with a permaculture farm, and permaculture is a system of really evaluating, like, let's say the land in this case, and being like, what works together. So not led by consumerism. And let's say consumerism and capitalism and chasing profit is a problem. Yeah. So it's like you would go to a land back in the day and you'd be like, oh my God, I think beef's going to sell well. So this land should just have loads of cows on it. But like that hasn't been really talking to the land and being like, well, actually this land, this soil is very good at sort of like looking after pigs, like for example. It's like we haven't been doing that. So the permaculture system is really being like, okay, well, this land has water. So what works best with water? These particular plants. Yeah. And the other thing about permaculture, which is really interesting, rather than going, let's just seed 1,000 potatoes over there in that land, but the land doesn't support that. So I have to go and put like artificial chemicals on it to make it grow better or grow bigger. So it's like better for someone, which is not organic and not healthy. Permaculture basically says, well, actually, if you put potatoes in this particular land next to tomatoes, they will actually feed themselves. So they will grow organically together, and we don't need any chemicals to do. That is a make-up kind of guidance by there, but that's the principle is it's just like the land will guide us as to what works better. And we haven't been doing that. Science technology is amazing, but it hasn't been aligning itself with natural guidance and evidence and that's what permaculture is, which is why we support it.
Well, and it's interesting as you're describing it to me there, the same principles apply to humans too, right? When we put like-minded people who can feed into each other together in a room, whether it's online or, eventually I know we'll get back to a place where we're having in-person Morning Gloryville workshops and events, right? But when you put us together, what magic comes from that as well, right? That's part of the community. I mean, even though we are physically apart right now, I think there's an opportunity to be closer together than ever before. And for me, part of that is just realizing all the nonsense in our life that we can let go of in this big pivotal moment of our lives, right? And all the things that we used to think were important, which are just baloney, and come back to what is really most important. And for me, it's love. It's oneness. It is you have strengths, I have strengths. Let's come together and help others with those strengths. What else has been some big life lessons for you through this whole quarantine experience?
Well, just the first bit I'd say is that's going to help build community. Like we've had a lot, we go to corporates quite a lot because corporates are like, look, we're a community, like and it's nice to hear corporates think of themselves like that, because I think they did used to think of like, let's be efficient, let's maximize productivity, and I need this particular this person, so you're kind of good, let's like fit you together and get on that team and go. Yeah. But people have really said, like, come into Morning Glory and they say, like, we need community guidance, like we need community support, like our people are disconnected, they're apart, they're at home, they're stressed, they're anxious. What do we do? And so we're at the moment in time, we're creating online experiences for them, webinars, we're taking our people face to face with them with mindfulness classes and everything. But the real guidance that I would give to every individual right now is self-care. Like, this is a moment of self-care. And you literally just said that, basically. It's like, what am I going to do? How can I make an impact? And the biggest change that I had was when, like, I woke up 5 or 6 years ago and I got really afraid. I was like, oh my God, like, look at the way corporates, governments are treating people. Look at the homeless, look at the wars. Like, you keep going. Right now is a time where you could really get lost in the terror. It's like, you look at some statistics, it's like, oh my God, the virus rate's escalating. These people just died. The NHS workers don't have this. Like, the noise of negativity is overwhelming. Yeah. So the best thing that you can do as an individual is tune into your heart. And that is when you literally have to go like, well, actually, we're all in this together. Look at this. Like, the whole world is suffering like this. Like, if I default on my mortgage right now or don't pay my rent, like 10,000 other people aren't going to do that. And it's the system that was set up that has failed. So it's not you that's failed, like, which is the most important thing here. So right now, your whole life, or lots of people during their lives, are told, like, you're not good enough, you haven't done this enough. We've had this kind of like, we've got to do. But right now you're at home. Yeah. And it's like, go into your values, communities, go into who are we best connected to, what best serves us. And that's the biggest shift that I went through on my journey. It was like, well, just stop worrying about everything else right now. Like, everything's bad. Well, not everything's bad, but like, what's happening to me, I was perceived as bad at the time, until I just started taking responsibility for myself and like learning who I really was. Yeah. And then things started to escalate for me very quickly. And
so it's radical responsibility, going inward and really doing that exploration. And I think sometimes I'll be frank, I think it's scary, right? It's like, ooh, that's
It
big,
is.
scary, deep stuff. I'll do that later when I've got more time. Guess what? Got a bit more time nowadays, for some of us. And yeah, it is that time to do that excavation in our hearts and yeah, coming back to center. And again, for me, it's been not only just taking an audit of what's important in my life and what can I let go of, what can I do less of, but then also equally self-care means to me of getting down to the base level of what does it take to nourish myself right now? Because when I nourish myself, both body, mind, and spirit, good, healthy, quality foods, lots and lots of water and less coffee, all the things, I'm clearer in my mind, I'm clear in my heart, and I'm so much more connected to my soul to make better decisions. And then that's where, for me, I find those divine nudges happen where I go, oh, hey, you should reach out to so-and-so. Or, you know what? I need to do this. Or maybe this would help my audience or my clients or my family. That's where enlightenment happens when you can first steady your ship so that you can be out there in the water to help others, right?
Exactly. And, this is the thing, human beings are so caring. They're lovely. Look at the NHS workers, look at doctors, they are there in the front lines and they're probably not supported as much as they should be, which is why we're like a community of healers that are just we have our holistic therapies and our ideologies, but we're doing what we can because we know that that's not gonna last in certain circumstances. But we're just so caring, and if you're led by people that don't have your best interests at heart, then you're gonna use your energy for another person's means. And this moment right now is all about where is your energy best spent, and it's on yourself. A big shift that I had to go through, and actually it happened recently with my own parents, was you just learn that they live in their own drama. I love my parents, but they won't see the world the way I see it, no matter how much I try and share that with them. And that's just how things are. So it's let's just do us right now. Let's do whatever's really meaningful and important to us, because this is a time of great change. And it's become one with the people that are just really positive. Yes, the world's in chaos, but we actually have so many solutions. Scientists have been banging on the door of governments. Extinction Rebellion has been banging on the door of governments saying could you please just listen to us as we try and tell you that climate change is a thing and this and that. And it's just no, newspapers, rah rah.
Yeah.
And it's just no, look what that got us, Now is our moment of complete unitedness, an opportunity for us to have a voice. But as you said, steer your ship well. Get into meditation, yoga, choose products that make you feel good for who you are, really. Don't rely on anything.
Yeah. So again, it comes back to radical responsibility as step one for rebuilding community. And then it is finding like-minded people who may not be exactly like you, but you are building you're building that community, whether it's online through Morning Gloryville or otherwise. And, what I hear you say here is also just scrapping what were the norms even a couple of months ago and saying, well, hey, how do we redefine this new reality, this new normal that we're moving into? Because I think that's probably one of the scariest parts about this, is that a lot of us just don't know, when will this end? When will we be able to come back in person again? When will life get back to normal? I'm using air quotes there. And the answer is that it will never go back to what it was. But the opportunity there is that we get to create the new normal, the new reality. And this is such a great moment of waking up and deciding how we as a community in Morning Gloryville and beyond are going to respond. So how do you see yourself responding? Where do you think we're going to be 6 months from now?
Timescales are very difficult. And I'd say something that, to help people, because we are talking about simplifying community and thinking about that. If you're looking at your workforce right now and you want to look at community, you need to go back to values right now. What are the values that you care about And every individual that is going through this self-care meditation right now needs to think about what value do they care about? Like, what is important right now? Is it your health? Is it the state of the environment? Is it you've been trying to support all these other like youth homelessness for like 10 years? Like, but what's important to you right now? So it's like everyone should really have a real time to think about where they should be, and that community should then really sort of like base everything about on like connection. Like, so like what do we unite from? So Morning Gloryville, we saw the world disconnected. We saw people partying, but like not really getting to know each other. Like maybe you're high or drunk and you've met this woman or man and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. And we have like a 5-hour deep discussion. But the next morning you wake up and because you were intoxicated, you've forgotten what you actually said. Yeah. Actually, that wasn't deep connection. So we were like, right, let's stop confusing our minds with these elements. So right now for us, we are just here to help. I think like we've gone through our interpersonal journeys. We've gone through our awakening, and we've learned the lessons from it. Like, we have the knowledge. One thing I would like the world to do is kind of like reevaluate medicine. Yeah. It's like this regulated response of something's wrong with me. I need to go to a GP and then I need to go to a doctor's surgery. And then because like it's important to understand that a lot of doctors' surgeries, like they run like a business. Like their outpatient room is like if they get a medical surgery treatment signed up, that's money charged. And it's like a couple of friends of mine have got cancer recently, and they went to doctors and they were told like you have to go onto chemo. And they were like, do I have any options? And they were like, you have to go onto chemo. Right. And that this person said, like, my heart told me this was wrong. They were like, I've got to put toxic in me in order to potentially root something else. And like, we gave her different guidance, you know, like we've said, like, do whatever's right for you. Like, doctors are good. Like, we love doctors. Again, I must stress that. But this is an opportunity for us to realize that just fixing a problem is not enough. You need to go to the root of it. And the root of it is that we are out of balance with nature. We're not eating organically. We're not really loving each other as a connected community. You know, it's like we're just all kind of like getting on a tube, putting our heads down, going to the place, doing the work, going home, maybe spending a little bit of time with our family, and just kind of like, and then that's it. And it's just like, where's connection? Where's community? Where's value? Where's purpose? And Morning Gloryville is like here and be like, we've been like dancing and playing, and it looks really silly and playful on the outside, but come into the world and then you're going to learn a lot more about yourself. You're going to learn a lot more about these different methodologies to live in, and you're going to really light up, because that's what we do. We're here to light up and just show, beam love, like understand that love will save the world. Come to Morning Gloryville, you'll see how.
Yeah. And if you're curious about Morning Gloryville, I highly recommend checking out what they've got going on. Now, you guys, since then, have now determined that you're going to do Saturday morning raves, right? Saturday morning dance parties every Saturday, or just for a couple of Saturdays coming up?
Every Saturday. Yes. So we're going to go even bigger than what you think. So so the last Sunday online rave, we had just short of 1,000 people turn up, which is just fantastic. So we've been asked to do them every week. So every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. tune in. We're going to do an online rave. Brilliant. And we did have people from America, from Asia, and from Australia sign up. And so that's great, but we want them to be really morning. So we're gonna reach out to the whole world and say, if you have the ability to run a morning rave, we're gonna partner with you. And so everywhere is gonna have like online raves now.
Brilliant. So we're bringing back Morning Gloryville in multiple cities around the world. So if you are curious about this, I highly recommend going to their website, morninggloryville.com, and you can find out details there on it. Now, Neil, I'm excited about when we get back in person, when we do these raves, workshops, retreats. Now, you have a permaculture festival, an event, in-person festival slated for September 2020, right?
Yes.
And so we'll put the dates for that as well in the show notes for people to check that out. So if you're curious, you can just go to thesimplifierspodcast.com. So Neil, I have a few questions for you that I like to ask everybody. And again, thank you so much for your time today.
Pleasure.
So first question is this. What's one book or blog that you're reading these days that's either inspiring you or poking holes and challenging your belief system?
So I like that question, and I'm actually reading a series, and they're by Robert Jordan, and they're fantasy novels, and they're about this one's about it's about heroes coming together and overcoming evil, and there's magic in it. There's sort of there's obviously darkness is constantly trying to break them down, and the heroes are kind of are they going to win? Aren't they going to win? And I've read a lot. Like when I woke up, I was just reading books all the time, science books, philosophy books, psychology books. Carl Jung was a guru of mine for many years. But when I read, and it was great, everybody should be reading and engaging with content right now. But what I found really made a difference was when I read books on magic and fantasy, because it just sparked that inner child in me that just longed for my imagination to just kind of go, wow. And it actually got channeled to me in a vision that my title at Morning Gloryville should be the Magical Maestro. So I'm the Magical Maestro of Morning Gloryville. So for me, you said it yourself, it's we need to be creative masters right now. The world is in chaos, but we can be calm, and we can be the order that kind of does its best to kind of just to be in natural rhythm with the chaos and not be frightened by it, So for me, reading a novel that kind of just sparks me, oh my God, a dragon, I wonder what that looks like. It kind of, it opens up my mind, my heart to oh yeah, maybe we could do an online rave, and maybe we could include a unicorn, doing a leotard dance, it's just why not? Maybe that'll spark someone into having a moment, it's just so
and it ripples out. Yeah. And that's it. I think that you're absolutely right. When you have an opportunity, or you give yourself permission to tap into your childlike self, that's where imagination happens. That's where playfulness happens. That's where new ideas get rippled out to others. And, it's an invitation to vision a new world from this point forward. So we'll put a link in the show notes for Robert Jordan's novels and things as well. So tell us, who's one person that you just feel is up to brilliant things right now that we could shine a spotlight on them? And who knows, maybe one day we'll have them on the podcast as well.
Beautiful. I hope you do. So I really go straight to Tom Carter and Hugh at the Free Paws Permaculture Farm. I've been to stay with them. I've seen how wholesome they are. They're young. They're about my age, or about 36. And you know what? They've owned and operated the farm for 2 years. They're really sort of taking their time. They're oh, sheep will be good with that. And if you look at their website, the Three Paws website, it talks about the need for an agricultural revolution. They are this young group, because they have volunteers come and go there, and they would love to have volunteers at this particular time. And they go to all these kind of conventions, and there's all these the elder farmers that have just been there doing their thing. And they're no, you have to do it this way. But actually a lot of them are in real pain at the moment, because they are stretched to be able to make supply and demand that's demanded of them. And we're young, we're youthful, we're infused and ready to change. So these people, they're just kind of they just got my energy, and I just I'm inspired by being closer to the land, really.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We'll put a link in the show notes for them as well. And I think that the lesson I hear there is, even if you do live in a high-rise flat somewhere in a very busy city, and you're thinking, well, gosh, living on a farm is so far away from me, it can start with small steps. It could be a plot on your patio. It could be starting with some seeds and growing your own herbs to season your foods. But starting somewhere, I think, is the next invitation from this pivotal change that we're in our
really
lives
is.
right now, and to move forward.
Yeah, definitely.
So I believe gratitude and simplicity go hand in hand. Tell me, what's one thing you're grateful for right now in your life?
That's beautiful. The Morning Gloryville family, Because we've geared up from calling ourselves a community. Like we really go out of our way to support us. Like Bambi, who's our sound healer, like she's got children, and like knowing her and how gifted she is as a sound healer, it inspires me to like work harder. Like I'm like in corporates at the moment, sort of like, because I used to be a salesman recruiter, right?
Yeah.
I'm picking up the phone now. I didn't want to do this. I was like, I'm going to be the spiritual fairy living off the land and just kind of like talking to water and being happy and everything. But my dreams sent me to London. They were like, look, London's going to be in pain soon. You need to be there. And I was like, fine. And then they were like, you've got to pick up the phone and do the recruitment thing again. I was like, are you kidding me? No,
yeah.
I don't want to do that. But Bambi is my soul sister. Like it is. If the money that we bring in from anywhere goes directly to these creatives. And Bambi has these gifts where she can sit with people that are on their deathbed and she can channel with them and talk to their ancestral spirits. And like whatever is happening there, whether they are actually doing that or not, what happens with that individual, to know that they are loved, to know that they're not just about to die with a complete unknown, to know that someone's there to support them, that is a significant, unique thing that tribal elders and medicine men and women of tribes used to do all the time. And we lost that. So I'm just like, I will help you and your family, because it's like we need different solutions right now.
Yeah.
And that's what our family is.
It's truly true. And I've experienced Bambi a few times at events, and she is just this beautiful, bright light. She is an amazing person. And again, it goes back to knowing what spiritual gifts we each have and coming to the table in this like mishposh of wonderful beautifulness. And we are helping in such profound ways and rippling out from there. We all can't be the same person. We all can't be the same skills, right? We come together in a beautiful harmony. So if you're curious about this, again, I highly recommend reaching out. So Neil, we can find you online at Instagram, Neil Brings the Magic, or even checking out Morning Gloryville's Instagram handle. I'll put all the links in the show notes for people to connect with you there. So one last question for you, Neil, today. And again, thank you so much for your time. I want to take a moment to acknowledge you before I ask the final question. I know that you're up to big things, whether you know it or not, and I cannot wait to see what Morning Gloryville does next and how you are truly helping thousands and thousands of people around the world in what can be a very scary time. So I just want to encourage you, one heart to another. Keep going. You're right on the right path. Mm-hmm. So someone somewhere is listening to this podcast and they are enjoying, they enjoyed the visualization at the beginning. They are missing being with their friends or having a good time going to a dance party or just feeling connected, and they're feeling really isolated right now. What's one thing you could whisper into her ear just now in this moment to encourage her?
I would whisper into her ear the same thing that I tuned into. So I do have many gifts that have opened up to me because I really devoted myself to this awakening, and it was really hard. Like, as I said to you, when we spoke, I was down, and it takes a lot to knock me down. I've gone through the most ridiculous things to get to my position where I am, because I am here to make big change, and the Morning Gloryville family, we will make big change together. Yeah. So I tuned into my guidance, and it's a hard journey, just to stress that again. So the messages are not always clear. And a really strong, powerful, sort of loving voice came through, and it said, "You are being presented with a unique opportunity." And I'd whisper these words because the way that I choose to view everything is knowing that, like, it's happening, it's happened, or it's going to happen, but here I am, and this is what I can do about it. And I choose positivity. I choose to accept that something greater beyond my comprehension is happening. And even though it looks sad and bad, like, there's a reason for it. And I choose to believe that nature has us. Like, I choose to believe that we are held by this loving, energetic support that wants the best for us. It needs the world to kind of in solidarity. It recognizes we're here. This is tough, but we can rise up, because there are beautiful communities that will take us through. So I say all these words at 333 right now. So I choose to accept that, the positivity, like there is a reason for the darkness, and that we'll overcome understanding the light better, or becoming brighter with the light, whatever that is. So I'd whisper the words like, this is a unique opportunity for you. Know that you are well, know that you are protected, know that you are loved, and that you will overcome.
And together we are so much better than alone.
And yeah, but this won't last. It's not going to last. Like let's just really use the time well.
Yeah.
It's not going to last.
Big love to you, Neil. And
Thank you,
I'll see you very soon. Thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Really appreciate you. Thank you.